everyone. We are from Group 3. We'll present our material about the case study, and the title is the usage of domination strategies in conflict between the teachers and the student. I will introduce our member. My name is Josie Tokoni. I'm the first speaker, and then my friend Suti Rajmi will explain about the next material, and then my friends Umi Nurul Fahri will explain the last material about this article. There are many cases that often occur in schools, and one of them is conflict. Conflict in schools can range from difference of opinion to violence, and if not handled well, it can disrupt a social relationship and the educational process. And the question is, what is the function of the teacher, or what's the role of the teachers deal with this case? And now I will explain about the factors of conflicts that we can find in the schools, and especially school in Indonesia. The first is personality difference, and then different values, and then lack of resource can affect teacher-student relationship. The first is different personality. We can find two students will do a group project, but one of them has introvert personality who prefers to work independently and quietly. It different with another one who has an outgoing personality and want to be the center of attention. In this class, in personalities can lead to conflicts, especially when they are assigned to work together on a project. The second one is different values. I will take the same example. Two students will do a group project. One of them is strongly in being on time for class and completing the assignment. It means that the student is a disciplined one, while another one is more relaxed about deadlines and tends to procrastinate. In these different values can lead to tension between them, especially if they are working together on a group where meeting deadlines is such a crucial. And the last one, this is the last factors of conflict, that is lack of research. I will give the example in the schools. There are two students who needs the same book from the library. They maybe struggle to access the materials they need for their study. Maybe they can to share a single book or rely on photocopies, but it can be create frustration and lead to conflict for them. So what's the role of teachers in dealing with conflict at school? To create a positive environment, the teachers need to pay attention to students' behavior and create space for them to talk about their problems. The use of authoritarian power by teachers can have a negative impact on student satisfaction and the teaching learning process. It's not that easy for the teachers to dealing the conflict at school. After all the explanation before, I would like to tell you about the purpose of this research. So the aims of this research is to display the reason why teachers use the strategy of domination in the conflict between the students and the teachers, and its impact on students with a case study. And the next material will present by Suti Rajmi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Suti Rajmi S from Group 3. Now I'm going to present our review article. The title is The Usage of Domination Strategy in Conflict Between the Teacher and Students, a case study. Now I'm going to present about the methodology. The first is aim of study. The aim of the research is to display the reason why teachers use the strategy of domination in the conflict between teacher and student and its impact on student with a case study. Next, research question. What are the reasons for teachers using the strategy of domination in the conflict between teacher and student and their impact on students? Research design. The study is a qualitative one and has been carried out with the method of case study. The case study research method is an empirical inquiry that investigates a contemporary phenomenon within its real-life context, when the boundaries between phenomenon and context are not clearly evident, and in which multiple sources of evidence are used. Okay, next. Data collection and analysis. The study contains annotation and ratings on a case study, and therefore the real names of people on whom this study is based are replaced by pseudonyms. The researcher gave a talk on this subject and then interviewed a primary school student and for the research, a case study method was used to investigate the process of conflict between teacher and student. In order to analyze the situation, individuals were taken into consideration. Observation and interview techniques were applied in order to gather the necessary information for the case study. As a part of the analysis of the case study, by applying the rules of conflict management and with the data gathered through interview with the parties involved in a conflict and the participant observes, this case was commented on in order to clarify the dimension of such was comment on in order to clarify the dimension of such conflict as well as the reason for them. Descriptive data, which is part of qualitative data analysis, was used for the analysis of the data gathered through interview with participants, observers, and all parties involved in the conflict. Okay, next. Data on characteristic of the teacher and student involved in a conflict. It's very useful to know something of the character of both parties involved in a conflict. In this case, that Kemal and Mr. Nuri, Mrs. Nuri, is 42 years old and he has been working as a mathematics teacher for 19 years. Kemal is 14 years old and is attending an A class. Kemal is an introvert character and has difficulty in finding friends. Generally, he is calm and adapts himself to others. As he has a calm and adaptable personality, Kemal has hardly any problems with his classmates. In this, Mr. Nuri is a sharp and very strict teacher who constantly asserts his authority. Next, the observation process for determining the personal and behavioral characteristics of the people in the case study. So, in order to increase the trustworthiness of the analysis of the case study in the research, Kemal and teacher Mr. Nuri were observed at school 2 days per week over the course of 1 month at the school. Meanwhile, the relationship of Kemal with his friend and his teacher both during the lesson and in the breaks was observed. The relationship of the teacher Mr. Nuri with his student and his behavior during the lesson were also observed. As a result of the observation made, it was observed that Kemal strengthened his relationship with his friends and enjoyed time with his friend both in lesson and in the break. Okay, next. Case narrative. In this, Kemal is sometimes late for class. It cannot be said that he has good marks, and the teacher would not say that he is popular student. Mr. Nuri is Kemal's mathematics teacher. Kemal was late in a class again when this conflict occurred. Mr. Nuri was standing at the blackboard and giving his lesson when Kemal has knocked on the door and entered the class. Kemal apologized for being late and wanted to go to his desk when Mr. Nuri angrily shouted at him, I am bored with your being late. The others cannot concentrate on the subject matter because of you. You are not a competent student. The next time you are late, I will not let you enter in the class. Kemal wanted to explain something. However, Mr. Nur did not let him talk and ordered him to sit down. For the rest of the lesson, Mr. Nuri concentrated on Kemal. He is annoyed by everything. He was upset when Kemal was talking to his classmate or when he made no contributions to the lesson. Most of the lesson passed not in teaching but in teasing of Kemal. Kemal couldn't concentrate on the lesson. After the lesson, Kemal went with his classmate 11 to the staff room and wanted to talk to Mr. Nuri. However, Mr. Nuri was not pleased. He accepted the request to talking with Kemal. Kemal told Mr. Nuri that he was living far from school and that his family's financial situation was worsening. He added that he had to walk to school every morning and is therefore late for the lesson. Sometimes Mr. Nur listened to him without saying a word and then said, it makes no difference. The reason you have listened. This is not apology. I don't want you to be late again. You will have to bear the consequence if you are late again. He ended the conversation, not allowing Kemal to say anything further. So that's all my presentation. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muminul Fahri and I would like to explain the result of this article. So the first is the analysis of the case narrative. The conflict detailed in the case study revolves around the dynamics between Mr. Nuri as a mathematics teacher and his student Kemal. It's evident that various factors contributed to the tension between them, particularly when considering the intricacies of their relationship and the available data. Reasons for conflict concerning relationships include misunderstanding, prejudice, fixed judgment. Kemal's academic struggles, as evidenced by his poor grades and occasional tardiness, seem to have cemented certain fixed judgment in Mr. Nuri's mind. These predispositions likely influenced Mr. Nuri's interactions with Kemal, potentially leading to unequal treatment compared to students with better academic standing. Also, the lack of communication. Mr. Nuri's understanding of Kemal appeared limited to this academic performance and punctuality issues. There seemed to be a glaring lack of insight into Kemal's personal circumstances, which could have shed light on the root cause of his behavior. Improved communication channels could have mitigated misunderstanding and potentially prevented the conflict. The third is ongoing negative behavior. Kemal's consistent academic struggles and tardiness set the stage for the conflict For the conflict, these recurring issues likely exacerbated Mr. Nuri's frustrations and contributed to a strained teacher-student dynamic. The second one is reasons for conflict concerning data include lack of information and misinformation. Mr. Nuri's unawareness of the reasons behind Kemal's tardiness highlight a significant gap in information. Without a comprehensive understanding of Kemal's circumstance, Mr. Nur's assumptions and actions may have been based on incomplete or inaccurate information. So, conflict resolution and its impact. Mr. Nuri's approach to conflict resolution appeared to be dominated by an electoral strategy, wherein he exerted authority without adequately considering Kemal's perspective. Despite Kemal's attempts to address the issue, Mr. Nuri's dismissive attitude perpetuated the conflict, leaving Kemal feeling unacknowledged and misunderstood. And the points for the result is, the first, understanding the teacher-student relationship. The conflict underscores the importance of fostering understanding and empathy between teachers and students, emphasizing the need for open communication and mutual respect. The second is communication breakdown. A breakdown communication exacerbated the conflict, highlighting the necessity of establishing channels for effective dialogue to address underlying issues. The third one is impact of dominance dynamics. Mr. Nuri's use of a dominant strategy not only failed to resolve the conflict but also alienate Kemal, underscoring the detrimental effects of power imbalances in educational settings. The fourth is importance of contextual understanding. Recognizing the multi-faced factors influencing students' behavior is essential for conflict resolution, emphasizing the need for educators to consider individual circumstances. And the last one is emotional and academic consequences. The conflict's persuasions extended beyond the classroom, affecting Kemal's emotional well-being and academic performance, underscoring the broader impact of the unresolved conflict on students' outcomes. I think that's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.